Everyone, I have to tell you, I'm sick and tired of leaders labeling Canadians as racist. I'm over it. I'm done with it. I want leaders who are going to lead, not pointing fingers at people saying, racist, racist, there's racists everywhere. I'm done with it. I'm sick and tired of it. And this video started out as a look at what Jagmeet Singh has been up to, but you know what? I've expanded it to, well, a lot broader than that, but Jagmeet Singh is a big part of this as well. But first, let's go back to 2018, and this is Justin Trudeau being asked a financial question from a heckler. I like that they label her a heckler. Why? Well, we'll watch the whole thing play out. I apologize, it's in French. I don't know if it's beneficial if I read out what they're saying. I did the first time. Link is in the description if you want to have a read. But essentially, Justin Trudeau calls this woman racist for asking a fiscal question. When are you going to refund the $146 million to Quebec that was spent on non-citizens, is essentially her question. And she asks him, she gets cheers. He shames her and gets bigger cheers. So, and in a political crowd, you've got operatives who are making sure the crowd claps when they're supposed to clap. So there's a little bit of that going on the second one too. You have to start a crowd clapping and then they'll clap just because people are clapping. It happens, watch. But here we go. Here's Justin Trudeau saying, you're racist. There's no room for that racism in Canada.
La province et le pays. Madame, une des choses importantes, madame, en politique, c'est l'écoute.
One of the most important things in politics is to listen. But you're not answering my question, she says. But answer me, Mr. Trudeau. Do you have something to say to me, madame? Says Trudeau. I want to know when you're going to refund the $146 million we paid for illegal immigrants. Cheers. Okay, madam. This intolerance towards immigrants has no room in Canada. This intolerance towards... And then this is later. There's a further exchange there, but she says, are you tolerant towards old stock, true stock Quebecers? And he says he's everything Quebec. Les tout Quebec, I think. That's what he says.
Excusez, madame. Je suis fier Québécois, madame. Je suis fier Québécois.
I'm a proud Quebecois. So, and I've heard that that's kind of a not nice way to say that as well. So, whoops. Sorry. I mean, we're talking about racism. I just thought, right? We should mention that. Carrying on, here's Jagmeet Singh, and this is yesterday, October 13th, and the CBC Politics is tweeting, quote, is Canada racist? Jagmeet Singh says, no question. And then he pulls his punches. No question, Canada's racist. Let's listen. Here, well, I'll read this first. Here's the article, okay? Is Canada racist? Jagmeet Singh says no question, okay? And I'm just showing you the important part. The link is in the description. You can watch for yourself. But the article says, quote, but there was another moment at the same event in Grassy Narrows, a northwestern Ontario Ojibwe First Nation that has been struggling for decades with toxic mercury in its water that did not attract as much attention. When asked whether he thought Canada is a racist country, Singh said, quote, there's no question about it. Quote, if you look at the treatment of Indigenous people, there's a decision being made not to fund basic things like water. There's a decision being made to ensure that Indigenous Canadians don't get the basic funding that's needed. All right, here's the whole context. Here we go.
This news conference about how there are policies and issues in our government that disproportionately advantage some Canadians and disadvantage Indigenous communities. Fair to say, and this is open to anyone here, that Canada's racist, so we have a government that's racist.
Oh, there's no question about it. If you look at the treatment of Indigenous people, there is a decision being made not to fund basic things like water. There is a decision being made to not ensure that Indigenous communities get the basic funding that's needed. The PBO has said that their commitments and what's needed to be done and what the Liberals are committing to, there's a $1.8 billion gap. A $1.8 billion gap. So
I'll leave it there. Link is in the description if you want to watch the rest of it or read the rest of the interview. He does pull the punches later, so kind of backs off that statement. But still, that statement is endemic. And I mean, what good does labeling the policy as racist do? Even if it is racist, What are you going to do to solve it? Talking at length about the racism endemic in Canada and the $1.8 billion gap. Well, Mr. Singh, there's $21 billion given to First Nations every year. And we have a responsibility to responsibly spend that money. Is it all being spent well? Is it all being spent on necessary things? Is it the funding's fault, or are there efficiencies that can be found, or better ways to spend the money, or better ways to spend the money that result in better outcomes? I feel like just labeling the policies racist doesn't do anything to solve the problem. And calling the policies racist isn't solving the problem. It's not effectively doing anything. It's just inflaming the masses. It's just making people angry. Right? As I said, I'm sick and tired of being talked down to by people who claim to have the moral high ground and, oh, Deo, daylight come. What? Right? The moral high ground? From where exactly? From who? From which party? Mr. Singh doesn't have any solutions. He's just got blame for systemic racism, I suppose. And then the Liberals have, this hypocrite as leader, right? I mean, how and in what way do they get to say you're all racist? When was the last time you dressed up in blackface? I mean, really, right? Here's Mr. Singh at the day of the debate. Blackface Trudeau pictures had been everywhere, and yet he takes issue with Mr. Bernier because Mr. Bernier has different ideas about how many immigrants we should welcome every year and what the ratio of those immigrants should be. Mr. Singh claims the moral high ground, yet speaks at length at Khalistani separatism rallies, which, if you're the Indian government, might classify as hate speech. They might not want people talking about that. So depending on your perspective, it's a hypocritical thing to do. Here they are. Here's the exchange.
Answer that question. Free speech only when people are saying things that you want to hear.
You're asking the question. Let me answer it. After a couple of minutes of this debate tonight, I think people can clearly see why I didn't think you should deserve a platform. The comments that you're making, the type of things you say, there's one thing to say that you disagree with somebody, that's fine. But when you incite hatred, when you incite division,
no, I don't. It's not true. You cannot say that.
You insult a young girl
I just want to have a debate.
Ask about her mental stability. It shows a lack of judgment. You don't deserve a platform, and I'm happy to challenge you on that because your ideas are hurtful to Canada. I will always work to build unity and bring people together.
He will always work to build unity and bring people together. We're going to see an example of that in just a second. But it's interesting that he takes such issue with Bernier and doesn't mention anything about Trudeau. I didn't see it. I watched the debate and I live tweeted the debate, and Blackface Trudeau, I think Stephen Harper's ghost made an appearance before Blackface Trudeau did. So that's weird, right? And he says that Bernier, the comments you say incite hatred. He had no examples for any of those things. And I've never heard Mr. Bernier incite hatred or have any negative comments or racist comments. Certainly, nothing to the level of, oh, he's darker than the turbaned men he's standing beside. How can Mr. Singh focus on Mr. Bernier when Mr. Bernier is focused on policy, fiscal policy nonetheless, and we've got these pictures out and about? Hypocrisy. And he's always going to make sure everybody is included. Hold on a second. Here's Jagmeet Singh not answering a question from Keean because of the place that he works at. Here we go.
You're with who? RNN.
I'm going to pass on the question, my friend.
Okay, so do I get the follow-up then? Or you're just going to pass on the question for...
Yeah, I'm not going to answer it.
It's a hard one, or...
No, I'm just not going to answer your question.
So, okay, so the follow-up, I guess, would be, how do you have the moral authority to take the Alberta oil sands offline, given Alberta just recently rejected your party in the largest democratic mandate that the province has ever seen?
I'm not going to answer your question, but thanks.
It's a hard one, hey?
Yeah, thanks, man.
So, again, if you're wanting to be the leader of the country, you're showing everyone what you're going to do as leader, and what he's going to do as leader is follow, Justin Trudeau and Andrew Scheer and everyone else who's not answering questions from the rebel media. So that's, in what way is that including everyone? In what way is that making sure everyone feels that their voice is being heard? In what way does that help bring together unity or bring unity to our country at all? You're just being very divisive, and for no apparent reason, just because of where he works, Jagmeet. That seems arbitrary and wrong, right? Oh, I'm not going to show this video because it was just terrible. But remember this? This is the PR disaster right after the blackface came out. It's not like the blackface stuff didn't happen. And they're calling it brownface to, I don't know, sanitize it somehow. But the blackface stuff happened. And Justin Trudeau is apologizing to black children. Not only is this inappropriate because these kids have no idea who he is, nor how this could possibly hurt anybody because they play dress up, right? Politicizing children is irresponsible, period. It's not a good idea. And so politicizing children to explain away the prime minister's blackface is an even worse idea. Oh, aren't those kids cute? No, I think it blew up in his face. I think it's a terrible PR move, and I think it was poorly calculated. It's got a lot of views, but it doesn't help him. I don't think, not at all. I mean, do people care about the blackface now? I don't know. I'm not sure that it's going to hurt, really, come election day. I've seen the polls, but at the same time, the People's Party hasn't moved on the polls in a year. So that seems odd also. It was 17% and then 1 to 3% for the whole year. 2.4, 2.6, 2.2, 3.1. Yeah, BS. But it's interesting, right? Watching all this stuff. Here's going into the media aspect of this whole thing and the draconian nature of silencing media who ask uncomfortable questions. This is Mr. Dave Menzies being kicked out of an Andrew Scheer event. And if you haven't seen this, there's a whole lot more to this story as well. He was arrested, but not really arrested, held for his own safety, according to the officers. Here we go.
Let's just cooperate. We're not
I thought you were calling the police.
We are.
We'll meet them outside. Okay. Yeah, all right then.
You were asked nicely to
So this is free speech in Canada right now,
but you're
right?
not welcome in this private
How about my brothers in the media? Are you going to stand up for this, or is there going to be some solidarity?
You asked him 3 times today.
The owner doesn't want him around. Is this? I didn't know this was a Trudeau precedent. I thought it was a Conservative precedent. Okay. Is there anyone going to be in solidarity with me? Any of you?
When I have their own police come in.
No.
Just wait for their own police to come in.
And more happened outside and et cetera. But this is concerning in Canada, is it not? Here's a Washington Post article by Andrew Lawton that says Trudeau won't let me cover his campaign. His ban is an attack on Canada's free speech. This was October 2nd, and a lot has happened since then, including Andrew Lawton and a coalition of journalists fighting and winning a battle to attend the leaders' debate, a public broadcast leaders' debate that if they weren't allowed to attend, they wouldn't be allowed to attend the scrum. And, well, part of the scrum was not that one, this one, not that one, this one. So this was part of the scrum, right? So Keean wouldn't have been able to ask that question had they lost that legal battle. But isn't it interesting that Justin Trudeau banned the Rebel Media, Andrew Lawton, True North Centre from the debates? They had to fight a legal battle to get there. And after all of that, Jagmeet Singh still refuses to answer the question. Now, Trudeau answered the question. He didn't look happy about it, but he answered them. And I don't know about Mr. Singh. Mr. Scheer. Sorry, I haven't watched all of the post scrums, etc. I've got lots to do. But all of that said, I'm sick and tired of these people claiming they have moral high ground when they behave in that way or when they behave in this way. I don't think that the person who's leading Canada should be looking under every rock for racists, especially when you've got grandmothers asking fiscal questions and people who are just looking to cover the debates, and you're saying, or people who are just looking to put their ideas forward and discuss their ideas with regards to what they think and where they think the direction Canada should go. We live in a democracy, or we used to. And so it is inappropriate for leaders to be coordinating to silence journalists, to silence competitors, to keep them off debate stages, to minimize the debates, to create rules around which media can be accredited. It's inappropriate, and I'm sick and tired of it. And we only have 7 more days until Election Day, October 21st. Get out and vote. I'm going to leave it there because it seems really organic too. And yeah, I'm just sick and tired of it. I really am. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving.